This conference will now be recorded.
Well, hello everyone. It is Thursday, April the 23rd, 2020. I was sitting here going, what day is it? And it's right there on the first slide, and it's 1 p.m. And this is Wes Fryer, and I'm here with some of our wonderful lower division teachers, and we're gathered virtually to talk a little bit about Seesaw choice boards. And actually, by a show of hands, because I can see folks sharing cameras, raise your hand if you've made one of these before, because I know a number of you have. So about half of us have made these and about half of us haven't. And I'm very excited about this. And what I want to actually start with is a story. And this is just a picture of our dogs, like yesterday, I think at lunch, who are sharing this bed that we have in our kitchen. But probably more important than even the technical stuff of what we'll talk about today, and hopefully what we can follow up with, is I want to just extend an invitation to those of us that are here live and then anybody who's watching this to share what you are creating. I half jokingly, but pretty seriously will say when people say, what do you do, Wes? What's your job? I'll say, I'm a technology fear therapist because I really do want to help us overcome fears. And the more that I have been a teacher and when worked in education, the more surprised I've been about how much fear there can be. And fear might not be the complete right word. Some of it's just hesitation for us to share, because a lot of times we think we're not good enough, or I'm going to be judged, or I'm going to have some negative. And we are all different people, we all have different personalities. I think there probably are some people that are just more natural, like woo, just put it out there and share. And we're in different places, but I want to start today with just this invitation that I want to keep extending this consistently, because like this is the kind of learning culture I want to be in, is one where we do generously share with each other, we celebrate with each other, and we're also there to pick each other up and encourage each other, just as you all were giving me some encouragement here as we're starting, because this is a stressful thing that we're in with remote learning. But one of the things that definitely makes it better is being able to collaborate and being able to work together and being able to share. So in addition to sharing, I want to talk about courage because it takes some courage to be willing to share something that you've made and be willing to be open to feedback, right? I can assure you that to the best of my ability, I am in no way going to judge anybody here for what they have done or haven't done. I mean, I think we're all on a journey of learning, and the more that we can find other people to partner with on this journey to help us out, show us stuff, give us feedback. I mean, all of our lessons and our ideas can get better with feedback. And so that's kind of why I wanted to start with those two things. So I want to also encourage you, not only today as you're listening to this, but but as you move forward. I think, and this is one of the thoughts that I wrote down when I watched the Seesaw Professional Development, which is fantastic. The one that Chris did that I'm going to mention. There's several that have been shared. These are three words that came to my mind. It's inviting each other to participate in the sharing what we're doing, and then celebrating. And so Seesaw has created what I think is just absolutely one of the best things they could have ever done in this library of activities. And so in addition to the activities that you build and you create, you have an opportunity to share into our school library, and then you can also share to the community. And so I just would encourage you to not only feel you know, hopefully supported and invited to share within our school that just our Cassidy folks can share, but also to share with the wider community. Today, as I record this, right before our webinar, we had 24 activities that are in our school library. We have hundreds of activities that have been created by our teachers at this point. And so if you don't want to share, again, there's no judgment from me, but I'm going to continue to invite you to and hopefully celebrate, because we're all learning. We're all on a journey. Every single one of us has different experiences, and we're going to bring different things to this conversation. So just as a fast overview, why in the heck do you even want to talk about choice boards? Number one, it's to give students choices. And this is actually super important. A lot of times in school, kids don't have choices. A lot of times we don't have choices as teachers as well. But I have found that students buy in and their motivation to engage in meaningful work and thinking, and sometimes even hard work and hard thinking, can really be raised when they have an opportunity to make some choices. And so by creating a choice board, it could be that you want students to do everything on the board, but it doesn't have to be. They could do one thing, they could pick two things or whatever. That right there is powerful from an instructional standpoint. We use this fancy pedagogy word. From a pedagogy standpoint, that just means how we're designing our learning. Second of all, multiple links. I think one of the challenges we've found as teachers, and probably students and parents, there's just so much, right? So much information, so many things coming at us. And so by organizing with a choice board, you're able to have more choices and possibilities out there, but actually kind of simplify it, because here's your activity for the day. So as you are working with these choice boards and thinking about them, I want to challenge you for that third thing. How can we streamline and simplify? Because one of the things I've certainly found, I don't know to what degree you have, it is hard to say things in a very simple and abbreviated version. I can give long directions and just write long emails, and I'm afraid that when I do, what tends to happen in at least some cases are people feel overwhelmed and they don't read all those. So I think this is one of the challenges for us, is we've got to provide instructions, we've got to try to make things clear, but how do we do that and how do we simplify? So your homework for today, and just by a show of hands, how many of you have watched this? This is the Seesaw workshop from April. Has anybody watched this yet? So you don't have to watch all 63 minutes or whatever. It actually takes 33 minutes to watch the beginning part of this, and the rest of it is question and answer. But this is a workshop that is part of Seesaw's PD in Your PJs, and it is a very good walkthrough of a way, because you don't have to use Google Slides in order to do this and do this in this way, but it's a very good walkthrough of a procedure that you can follow to create choice boards in Seesaw. And so, actually, I didn't intend to do that. That would have linked out to the slideshow. So let me go back. All I wanted to do was advance my slide. And now I'm lost. So I'm going to press escape, click present again, and we'll try this one more time. Okay, Chris, and I'm not exactly sure how to say his name, Sanger, is an elementary technologist and integrationist. He's a former kindergarten teacher, which scores a lot of points in my book. And he is, I think, for the past 6 years been, working as a technology integration coach with teachers, and he has a very good eye for design. And so this is the process that he kind of goes through in that workshop, of using Google Slides, setting it up to be shared, and that's kind of one of the more techie parts of this. But building the activity, and then he's got some ideas for templates, because you don't have to build all of this from scratch. So just to kind of give us an overview, what I'd like to do is I'm going to share some of the examples that Chris had to talk through a little bit. And then I want to just really briefly talk about in Google Slides the technique he discusses of how you build this. How do you put these things together? In our time together, I'm not going to go through all of his steps, because he already has. That's actually a great delivery of that in that video. It's in the first half hour. But here's an example of an activity where there's two different stories. One is the traditional Three Billy Goats Gruff, and then the other one is told from the perspective of the billy goat. And so students are going to do a compare and contrast, but they have both links to both videos, and then they have a template that they fill out that is going to be their work that they're going to submit. This is a second example. And so, again, we're going to explore circles. We've got 4 different links that students are going to go to. In this case, the arrows here kind of suggest that we're going to do them all. We're going to start at number 1 and then go to number 2. You can visually suggest to students whether this is just open-ended, pick one, or whether they need to do everything by using open sort of check boxes, or if you want to use arrows or numbers, things like that. And then this is another one that is, all about polar bears. One of the things I loved about Chris's webinar is he talked about using kid-friendly search engines. And, not all, but most of our teachers using Seesaw are either lower division or primary division teachers. I mean, I'm using Seesaw with my 5th and 6th grade. Amanda Pardue is using it with all of her upper division art students. We've got, teachers at different levels, but there's several different things that Chris has in this session that are just great. And choice boards and building a choice board is one, but having kid-friendly search engines that can give you videos that are, appropriate for younger students about polar bears or the monarch butterfly, as he talks about, or other kinds of things are really, really excellent. So again, this is right from Chris's presentation. In the activity, Chris is using 2 of the optional elements here to build the choice board. He is building a Google slide that becomes the multimedia instructions, and then he's building the template, which you can think of as the worksheet. I mean, this is what kids are going to fill out. That is going at the bottom. And so rather than having the kids start from scratch with something blank, you give them a document that they're able to start working on, and then you can give them visual clues, like if you want them to add a picture or you want them to record their voice, you can write that and draw an arrow. But those are the 2 optional parts, because every activity has to have a title, and then a lot of times we'll put a lot of instructions in there. But my challenge to myself, and this would be something to share with you, is to just think about every time you make those instructions, is there any way I can make that shorter? Is there any way I can make that simpler? And so the choice board actually can do a lot of that instructional part visually for our students. And so what I want to do now, I'm just going to press escape, and I'm going to make a new slide here on my document. And what Chris goes through in his presentation really is kind of an overview of Google Slides. You can simply click, as I think he did, and just delete these elements that are on here. But slides have different layouts, and usually you'll just want probably a blank layout when you are creating a choice board for students. And you can have a single slideshow that has a lot of them, but the way that he is actually I think I need to take that back. The way that he is demonstrating this, and I'll do that. I'm going to go ahead and go to Google Drive. Let me create it in a different slideshow. The reason why this is a good thing is because we don't know the kinds of devices that our students are using. I'm not sure if you probably do know, how many different devices your kids are using. I've got kids on 5 devices. I've even got, in addition to iPad, I have some kids using Android tablets, in addition to Chromebooks, and some on Mac laptops, some on Windows laptops. They're all over the place. And so the technique that Chris shows is, in addition to sharing the slideshow inside Seesaw, he shows how you can get a link to it, and you can have that link at the bottom as a caption. So one of the things that Chris has such a good eye for is visually how to use shapes and how to use colors. And so when you make a blank presentation like this, and you may not have used this before, but there's a shape tool, and when you go to the first shapes, there's one that's just for a rounded rectangle. And so you can select that, and you can choose the fill color that you'd like to use, and then you can go ahead. I wonder if I can, I don't think I can just type right on it. Yeah, I can, great. I'm gonna just I'll do the monarch butterfly, because that was actually what Chris did for his example. But you're obviously going to want to resize that. You can choose a font that you like. You are going to be making this this slide into a single page web page basically. And so this is the thing that he seems to have a really good eye for, is, you know, colors and how all those things look. Let's just do one that has 4. He has already created for us some templates that we can use. So if I wanted to go ahead and make my choice board here, and I can, you know, color these different things, you can use your copy and paste skills. So once I get one that I kind of think is about the size that I want, you can 2-finger tap and choose copy, and you can do that, or you can use your command tools. I will just copy that with my command tools and I will paste it. And so once I have those situated like I want them, and I've got them arranged, then I can duplicate those and I can put those in. And so now I have my little choice board here with 4 things. Well, if you go to Chris's presentation, one of the lovely things that he's included in here are links to templates that he's already built. And so these templates that he has, this is for student responses. Show me, what were the steps? If you want the microphone to be used. So you can actually just click and copy these and use these, and then you know, put them inside your own board. He's also got, I think I might have, yeah, this is where he's got some of these pre-built with arrows and things like that. But these are all good things to learn how to build and how to create. Now I'll have to go back to my window that I have hidden somewhere. So there's my dogs. Do you ever have this happen to you? Where did my tab go? There it is. Okay, so in addition to shapes here, you know, with the rounded rectangles there, you've got arrows. And so this is where, you know, you can decide, how do you want students to progress? Is this something they're going to have choices about what they, if they're going to be able to do all of these? When you are putting things onto a draw document, you can rotate them as well. So you can, you know, create the same object, and you can, you know, copy and paste it, and you can either rotate it, or you can go up to arrange, and the arrange tool, maybe not, maybe I'll just rotate it. Yeah, I don't know if that was just that one, but it will sometimes give you the opportunity to, you know, flip it and you know, put, you know, change those up. But anyway, it's up to you. You have those choices, but that's kind of some of the basics of building. Again, I don't want to go through all of the details that Chris did, but what I do want to say to you is, to the degree it's possible, please don't feel intimidated and overwhelmed that I can't do this because there's just too much. Google Slides is a super powerful medium for creating lessons, and the kinds of skills that you'll pick up and learn as you go through this really are, you know, they're things that can benefit you in your direct teaching, not just, you know, in the context of creating these. So what I would like to do now actually is ask if we've got some people that would be willing to share. I'm going to just, in Seesaw, real quick, I've clicked here on my library, and then I'm gonna click here on the school, and we'll take a look, and we've got some different things that have been shared here. So do we have a volunteer who would be willing to share something? I think Ashlyn, you had said you'd be willing to. Is that?
I can do it.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you want me to share my screen?
Let's pull that off. I'm gonna try to make you the presenter, and if for some reason your computer doesn't cooperate, then I'll share for you. But you should have an icon now. There you go. Perfect. Yay. We're seeing the screen. All right.
Okay. So along with all of you, we've had to learn a lot of things very fast. So I've learned a lot about Seesaw choice boards very quickly. So when we were on remote learning schedule 1.0 specials, we were doing a separate choice board. So this is how I organized the first grade, and I'm glad we have 2 first grade teachers, first grade choice board. So I had the numbers like you see in a lot of choice board options. So I embedded teaching videos of me, like a sound story, and then I always try to include a song. And then for those kids that always want more, I included bonus activities for them to do. So 4 and 5 are optional, 1, 2, and 3 were things that I would like for them to do. So that's an example of a first grade choice board.
Ashley, did you build that in Google Slides?
I built it in Google Slides, yes.
Fast. What would you say, did you learn anything new when you were doing that? Or had you, these were all skills you had done before?
I think one thing that I did learn was on Google Drive, whenever you want to upload a video, it automatically gives you a choice to do YouTube, but as a way to be safe and protect our kids using safeyoutube.net or whatever it is, it won't let you insert that video like you see here on High Low Mystery Song. That was a video I uploaded to Drive and could easily input it, but it was not being very friendly to include it in like the Safe Share type format. So then I learned I either needed to link it to text or link it to a picture for that to show up. So that was something that I learned.
Awesome.
This would be an example of a template that I asked for them to do. So this was separate from the choice board. So this was high-low patterns for first grade. Record yourself singing the high-low pattern. So I wanted them just to do high, high, low, low, high, high, low, record themselves, and that's all they were expected to do to show what they know basically from the choice board. That was the objective of that choice board. So then moving to 2.0. Oh, actually, that's the wrong one. That's another one. Let me find an example of the choice board for specials, which I'm sure you guys have all seen. But that is an example of like streamlining and simplifying. Like Wes was saying, we were asked to do one combined choice board. So we decided to put all 4 specials onto one choice board. So these again are very optional. So basically took away the template for student response because they're not really required to respond. They're more encouraged to come to our live synchronous session. So this would be an example of putting 4 subjects on one choice board with links, and everyone basically has their own square. I feel like it's visually easy for the students to see. This is the art lesson. Here, I want to do some art today. On Tuesday, I want to do some music. I can come back to this box. One thing we have been discussing, since this type of choice board is supposed to be for like a 7-day period, it gets pushed down to the bottom. So then we talked about maybe reposting it on Friday so that it was back up at the top of their feed for Flexible Friday if they chose to go back in and do some of these choice board options. But, and I do not recreate the wheel every week. I've been keeping the same choice board for specials, and then I just update the date, and it saves me a lot of time. But I found a format that I thought was easy to read and looked nice, and then I just use that same one every week. They're of course color coded by grade, but maybe that just pleases me, not anyone else. But that's just an example of things that I've learned, and I have learned more about Seesaw in the past however many weeks than I have in 3 years. So it's been good, and I look forward to taking these skills and applying them throughout the school year in ways that I can just get iPads in their hands for special lessons, especially documenting student singing and student rhythm reading. I think it'll be really great. But those are just some things. I don't know everything, but that's just how I've learned.
Before you stop sharing your screen, did anybody want to ask some questions of Ashlyn about her activities or what she has got in there?
I have a question. So Ashlyn, back up to the slides. Was this format, this background that you picked, was that available to you, or did you design it yourself?
And I've shared this with several other teachers, and Patty, I'm happy to share these templates with you. Basically, I think I explain it as digital scrapbooking. I have these scrapbooks, pages from TPT that I bought many years ago, and I use those for everything to create visuals for my students, even when it's not on Seesaw, just for Google slide presentations. So that was not in the Google Drive thing, but I'm happy to share that with you. Same with the fonts. Those I had to import from PowerPoint, and then I screenshot them in and then inputted them just because I wanted it to look a little different. And same with these shapes, those that I just copy and pasted them in. But again, once I have the template, it doesn't take much time at all. And I'm happy to share anything.
Scrapbooking is a great metaphor because you're making a collage like a scrapbook. And so there's different elements that you're getting from different places. But what's nice about the slides, unlike a Google Doc or a Word file that's made for like lines, is that it is a complete sort of page layout environment where you can drag and resize and, you know, get your corners and all that kind of stuff. So those are, I guess, text boxes that then have the links that are going to those different web pages. Like under music, then under Sidewalk Chalk Rhythms, if they click on that, or like if they view original, can you show us how that works?
Yeah, so then this is the video I inputted of me teaching the kids
Here's
how
an
to do this
example of an
activity.
8-beat rhythm pattern written using chalk. The rhythm choices are quarter note, eighth note, and rest. Step 1, draw 8 heartbeats. Step 2, compose using the rhythm choices. Step 3, say the rhythm. Here I go. Ta, ti, ti, ta.
So that's an example of a video that was embedded for them. So that was my little teaching lesson, and then a song.
Awesome.
And I have another question while we're at it. So back to Google Slides, is that the same thing as PowerPoint? What's a Google-
Basically, yes. Mhm.
So to find that, I go where?
Instead of going to like Google Docs, it's Google Slides. So go to your honeycomb in the top right-hand corner of your Gmail, like, and then you can go, I think it's yellow.
You want to show that
Okay.
real quick, Ashlyn? Just do a new tab. And so there's a couple ways to get to it, but when you're in your Drive, so Ashlyn's just going to go to a new tab, or there's her waffle, very good. And she's going to go to Drive. There is a direct link that'll go to Slides.
Oh,
go either to
there it
Drive,
is.
use new, or you can get Slides there. There's also a shortcut. I think you can type slides.new and that'll make a new one. But that's where you can click to make a blank one. Yeah, look at that. So
I use Slides for everything.
Whoa.
And
Wes, do you know if there's a way in Slides that you can group them in folders like you can other documents?
Yeah.
That's been there is? Okay, I need to learn that. That's the one thing I haven't liked about that.
I'm showing you this. I sent this to Lisa last week, and these are templates for choice boards, and I'm happy to do the same for you and just change the name if you think any of these would work for you.
Yes, please.
And same to you, Laura. Okay. I'll share them, and I'll even personalize them for you.
And what's lovely about creating a new one, because you can just here she has Jordan templates, and so she'll copy that number one, click on number one, copy, and then you put that in a new slideshow. That document becomes the clickable. It's actually a PDF file. What Seesaw does is it converts the slideshow into a PDF, but it maintains the links so that students are going to be able to click on them and go wherever they want to go. So great. So now she's in a new presentation,
and I'm going to Command V.
And rather than copy text on here, she's copied those slides, and now she can just delete whichever ones she doesn't want, leave the one that she does. And I think in most cases, the choice board, it's just you're gonna have a single slide, but then when you put that into Seesaw, in fact, go ahead, Ashlyn.
I will say, because I wanted to make it simpler, I feel like I'm talking a lot, I'm sorry. But in order to make it simpler for our specials team, because we have to do first, second, third, and fourth grade, or if you're like, I want to put all of my choice boards for the week in one document so I don't have to go find them. I don't know if this is a negative or not. Wes, you might have a better way. But for my team to make it easier for the week, I send out something that looks like this with first, second, third, fourth grade on it. And then I have to go in and basically extract one slide and create a separate Google slide. But it's an extra step for me, but it makes it easier on my team.
Absolutely. From a collaboration standpoint, that's great to have that together. But it's important for everybody to know that when you are going to put it into Seesaw, you really just want to have a single slide there, because that's what Seesaw is going to make into a PDF. I mean, you could have a multi-page one, but it's probably best to stick with a single one.
Wes, I do have a question. When I was learning how to do this I just basically watched one video. I'm like, okay, I don't need to watch any more. But the step on this particular video, which I believe, Shelly, you shared on the collaborative Facebook page, it added this step, and I do it because it told me to, and I don't exactly know, do I need to continue doing this?
I would. Well, go ahead, Shelly.
Well, I mean, I think just like Wes said, we don't ever know which devices our students are using. If we knew they were all using iPads or Chromebooks, we would be fine. But if they're on a Kindle Fire, if they're on another document, I mean, that's why you might, and it's just a backup link.
Yes.
It's just a backup link. So I like the way that go back, because I think you all watched that Sarah, whatever her name was, hers. Go back and watch Chris's. Chris simplifies some things in this latest video that I learned from. It was way simpler, and I like the way that he not only, because I used to only link the picture or only link the word or only link. He links everything. He links the shape, he links the words, he links the picture. So no matter where the kids, especially our littles in first grade, no matter where they put their finger or no matter where they click, it's all linked to the same thing. And that's a step that I had never done before. And then adding that web link as well. So that made sense to me, especially for our youngest, our little users.
So you're saying you could link like this whole first box?
If it's a box,
You link,
graphic,
yeah.
Is it a separate box or how is it set in there? Are those individual? Can you click on that box separately?
These are individual.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah,
Yes.
so he would link that. So if you highlight that and you go to link, you paste your link in there. If you put a picture in there, you link the picture. If you link the text, he links everything. Rather than just linking the text or just linking the picture, he links all of that. So no matter where the kids click, that thing is going to come up. And that's the step that I had never done.
That's cool. I'm glad to know that. My only thing on, like, for example, our specials, the only time that wouldn't work, I have 2 links in one box, but for like Bible and art, like that could work. That's a good tip. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, let's give Ashlyn a round of applause for sharing. And I want to say also, please, like, that is amazing. And please do not be intimidated. It's one of the things that it happens with kids too, right? Somebody's going to volunteer and go first, and then people are like, well, I'm not sharing now. No. So I would love for some more of you to share a little bit about what you've done. So
I have a story. I have something. I don't know if I can figure out how to share my thing though. I found one for in the Seesaw library. Can I share my screen?
Yep. I just
or
made you
Wes, you could just. Oh, no, darn.
Now,
because I was.
I can pull it up if you want.
No. Oh, sorry. I was playing earlier. That's another webinar. Oh my goodness. Y'all need to watch this one. Creating the scratch and read, especially all you primary people. This was awesome. Can I show this? Oh, I can't show it. This was great. I added it into the library. This is another one of Chris's activities, and he creates a scratching thing. So he creates this in a Google slide, and he takes it into Seesaw, and they just use the eraser tool and scratch it off, and then have to read the word. So it's a scratch and read. It was cool for literacy.
Okay,
Shirley just finished. Shirley just finished your scratch and read activity and was excited because she did all of them.
Yeah, isn't that cool? And they had to record their sentence. Go ahead, Shirley.
I did all of them except one.
She did all except one.
You are a rock star. You're a vocabulary rock star. Okay, so that's what I've been playing with. I did that late last night. Go to my library. Where's my library?
Just go to add. Green dot.
See, she was ready to present. I am like, I don't know where anything is.
Assign activity. Assign activity.
I did, honey. Patience with me. It's just going slow.
Who's in charge of your internet at your house? Let's go talk to them.
Oh, I don't know. It's because I think I have too many tabs open. I wasn't ready for this. All right. So where is my choice board? I gotta move something. My thing is messy. So anyway, for Earth Day, I didn't want to create anything new. I was being lazy. And so I went and found something that was somebody else had shared. And now I can't, oh, here it is. So I was gonna say, oh yeah, great, I'm gonna do their Earth Day choice board and it's gonna be awesome. So here's my lesson learned from that. when you use somebody else's choice board, make sure you don't have to have logins, because I thought it was going to be so easy. I was just going to check all the links, make sure they worked. And then I discovered she had all these Discovery Education links in there, and we don't have Discovery Education. So I had to go back in and choose all of my own links and everything anyway. So by the end of it, I should have just created my own. But so there are a lot of choice boards, and I've been finding some and sharing some to the Cassidy Library because I think they're simple, and sometimes they're worth copying and editing, and sometimes they're worth just using as ideas, so just inspiration. So
Can you go ahead and I have the board and the template, and I click on them and show it to us?
Yeah, I can show you. And then view original. So I went in and I found all of my own links. I left this one because that video showed, but this is, again, you can tell the Google Slides, they just found a background of the Earth. And then this was all done in Google Slides. Those are just the shapes. And then I don't know if I love to go in Google Pictures. Chris will talk to about that. So like Mystery Science, you can 2-finger click and copy those images and bring them into your board. It's just a copy and paste. I love that, so that you can get, how to draw or National Geographic. And my choice board, I tried to have all different things, like not just videos. Like this video was long. This video was short. This was a web page that was an activity where it talked to them about creating a soda bottle terrarium.
Can you click on one of them?
Yeah, I mean, so instead of just doing a video or just doing a thing, I don't know why this one takes it that way, the redirect. This choice board redirected. But see, here was just a web page. And I thought if kids were interested in making this, then maybe their parents would want to do that with them. So it wasn't just a kid activity for the kids, but it was, I had to look at the supplies to make sure it was stuff they might have at home. So when I was making the choice board, I was trying to do different things, besides just watching things. So trying to make it activity instead of just watching.
And as we look at this really quick, what I would say is you all are designing for the visual culture that we live in today. We are in a very visual culture. And so by having those little icons that go with, you've got text as well. It's just a very well-designed activity that students are going to be able to understand to a degree, visually looking.
These little, for science teachers, Patty, I mean, if you're doing videos, these little Mystery Science, they're all free right now too, but they're really cool about he asks a question and then he answers the kids' questions, and they've been really fun. The kids have enjoyed those. So anyway, look, because I have too many tabs open right now.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So anyway, that's just what I learned from going out and just double checking. If you do borrow somebody's from the library, I mean, like the Seesaw library, check your links first to make sure you don't need passwords or something like that.
Always check your links and watch the whole video. I've learned that the hard way.
Watch the whole video. That's right.
The whole thing. Morgan, would you be willing to share one of your activities with us? Awesome. I'm going to go ahead. Give Shelly a round of applause, please. Thank you for sharing, Shelly.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, while you're finding that, this is Amy. I was just going to say, off of your comment of working to appeal to the visual, that would be my suggestion too, is that one of the things I found, Ashlyn kindly shared some of her templates with me, and I kind of latched on to one really quick, but then in that sharing, as we've gone about, there are several that popped up looking very similar. I found for me as a teacher that was distracting visually as I was trying to go back through all of the activities to find mine to be able to approve and all of that. So I would also suggest that with that to kind of think through and maybe take a glance through some of the other ones and just so that they look visually different so that it makes it easier on you for trying to go back and find your activity.
Oh, that's good. Color coding.
And just know that in slides, you can automatically on the slide change the color of the background. So you don't have to put in anything else. You can change the color of the slide in Google Slides. So
Perfect.
Go, Morgan.
Morgan, is your computer being cooperative for sharing?
I have not tried, but I can.
Okay. Yeah, see if it'll work. It's just that at the icon down by the camera and mic, it should be screen.
It's not allowing me to click it.
It is not letting click it. Okay, so let me, have you shared, is this one that would be, have you shared it to the school library?
Yes.
Okay.
I shared one.
All right, and what is this one called? I probably need to change my filter because right now I'm on 5th grade. So let me just go to 3rd grade.
It's called Math Wednesday 4/22/20. Very creative.
Wednesday 4/22. There you go. All right, perfect.
So
All right.
I don't want to confuse us even more though. Whenever I made my choice board, it was like week 2 of remote learning. I wanted to do this and there weren't very many videos out at the time. The one that I happened to see showed you how to make it in Google Docs, which I am a Google Slides person. I love Google Slides. I make everything on Google Slides. This one, she showed Google Docs. I went with it. Then I made it and I haven't wanted to change it since then. So mine made in Google Docs, but it's a lot more basic because you just insert a table and then drag the table to fill your screen.
Wow.
What I do, I use the website Shelly shared, the PDF. I have it saved as a link.
PDF Candy, I think.
PDF Candy, yes. And so whatever I put in my choices, I also put as the example for anything they might need to reference or print, or something like that.
Awesome.
And what I like the most about the video that I watched, which the ones that have been shared were really good, on the menu, she said to make sure you put some kind of image for every option that they have. And I thought that was really good. And I do this on my non-teaching days. So the only thing I have them respond with is what they did. And then I have those two in case they didn't print out those activities, they can do them directly on Seesaw.
Okay.
Like the coloring one that was right before that, the kids do a lot. That was on page 2. So the one after that one.
This one?
Yes. That was a favorite choice in the classroom. Kids, that was the I'm done choice that they could do. So I put it on here and I just changed the coloring page it is each week. And so for that one, I take a screenshot of the actual picture and then just put it in Seesaw and kids can color right there. But then after the math menu, there's also a PDF version that parents can print out, and several do that option as well.
Right.
Morgan, that's been really easy from a parent perspective. I don't know how it works on the other choice boards, but this is so easy to print from. So she can do it. She can find the page that she wants to print. She can send it to the printer, see what page it is she's supposed to print. It's just been super user for her. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that feedback.
Yeah, and that's awesome because, PDFs are really the best thing when you're sending something for somebody to print. Like that's what you want them to have because it locks everything in place and it usually puts the fonts, everything is in there. So that is fantastic.
Which in all of the pages before that, the instructions that were for our math games, those I made on Google Slides. So it converts, that PDF Candy thing converts my Google Doc math menu and the Google Slides things I've created and those things that Laura was saying that you could print.
Yeah, this is the website PDF Candy. I'll put this into our slideshow that I'm going to send you, and it just basically is a drag and drop. What do you want to do? So when you want to put some PDFs together, or you need to convert from a PDF to an image, or from an image to PDF or whatever. And shout out to my friend Jason in Montana who shared this a couple weeks ago, and I thought, I got to share that with our teachers because that is powerful.
Amy, that's probably what you would have needed to do, what you have been working on.
I know. That's what my head's just kind of going, as I was watching Morgan's, I was like,
oh crap, why didn't I share that with Amy? I mean,
all of hers are vertical.
I know.
Well, and that's what I like about it is you can save them because my math menu was already created this way. And then I had my instructions for my math games that were vertical and I needed to put them together because we had already played one of them. I don't remember which one we had already played. And so I needed them together, but I didn't want to recreate them in the same document. So it worked out really well.
That is fantastic. Well, I'm so glad to see this too, because this has kind of been a continue, not an escalation, but like it's a little more complicated, but that's great, showing the possibilities of how we can be looking at a single choice board, and having multiple things there, or, it can have multiple pieces.
And Wes,
Anybody?
I can send you the video. I just found it on the Facebook Seesaw teacher page a long time ago that I followed, and she went through step by step on how to do it in Google Docs that I can send you if you want to share it.
Wonderful. Yes, please do. That'd be great. And I'll include that in our slideshow. And I'm going to go ahead and just, I don't know if I started or not, but start a page on our instructional site for choice boards, because I mean, there's a lot here, right? There's a lot here as far as the skill wise, but then also just in terms of the design, how are you designing these activities? What is it that you want your students to do? Any
Well,
other?
it was Seesaw created this as a workaround because in the Seesaw environment, they had space to add one link, which is awesome. But then sometimes people had activities that they wanted to show multiple links, and so teachers have come up with this, as a workaround for that. So anyway, I have heard through the grapevine that Seesaw is going to come up with some other ways to make choice boards a little easier even. So if you don't know this already, Seesaw changes and updates almost weekly. We need to be reminding our students and reminding our teachers. If they're on a student device, we are updating the Seesaw app weekly. But if our students are at home and they're having difficulties, they probably need to go ahead and update that app because they're fixing those things all the time. There have been some bugs, and some of you may have noticed some of the bugs, especially when they were uploading some things, and those have been fixed. So make sure your students, if they're still having trouble and they're on a home device, make sure they're updated. If they're on a Chromebook or a computer, it's no problem. All of those are automatically updated. It's only on the iPads and other devices that if they're having issues, have them update the app.
And I feel so silly because I don't know if you just noticed that, but I had not been filtering. So yes, we have 483 activities shared to our library. Just remember to come up here and choose a different grade level, or say all or whatever to be able to see. So great ways to be inspired and see what the possibilities are. So
Ashley had a comment.
Well, that just made me think because I just got an email from a teacher saying that GoToMeeting links aren't working on Seesaw for a student on an iPad. Have you guys had issues with that? And maybe they need to update their iPad? I'm not sure.
Yeah. And that's one of our students?
Yes.
I haven't had any trouble recently. I mean, today.
It just depends on where you're clicking it, how that's been shared, but yeah, it should.
Anyway, it was the Bible Spanish link, but I don't make those, but I don't know.
I'm putting my links as a comment underneath a picture. So like I put a reminder in Seesaw and then I put the link as a comment below for them to click.
Yeah. Because we've been doing it like Laura, I just took your idea with how you were doing it. So we've been doing that. But see, she suggested maybe putting the meeting number. So we'll just put the meeting number on it from now on.
The link should work. Click the link. If you click the link, it just goes and you don't have to put it. I mean, you could do that, but that's a little harder.
That is probably something we should take to our school lower division meeting because everybody seems to be doing those kind of things differently. And that should probably be procedural so that kids, Miss Fryer does it this way. Well, Miss Dickinson does it this way. We should all be adding those links similarly. Anyway, that should be procedural.
Okay. We are beyond 30 minutes. So I'm just doing.
Oh no, you have 7 minutes to prepare.
I'm prepared mostly, but I do need a few minutes. So
Fly by the seat of your pants.
Well, we're going to be okay.
He's been doing that all day today. Usually he doesn't have.
It really is how I have to live my life a lot of days. So
sometimes.
All right. Thank you, Wes.
Any other questions or thoughts that anybody would like to share? And I'll click stop record.
I tell you what, that Chris video, if you want, it is so simple and step by step. I would start with that Chris video. That one you watch, Morgan, Sarah's, hers is a little more technical, but this newest one from Chris is easy and step by step. I would start with that one.
Yeah, but please send it to me and we'll add those. We'll build that. Yeah. And anybody who's watching this after the fact, please reach out, let us know. And I would be happy to follow up one-on-one in terms of some Google Slides and how to do some building with that. And also just, I close with this. the whole KISS principle of keep it simple, silly, it doesn't have to be super, super complicated. The more familiarity you get with these tools, the more possibilities there are. But this is like an open container that can contain so much. It's so powerful. And so being able to create these sorts of activities where we're hyperlinking, we're curating the links, we're giving the kids directly, here's a safe share link, here's a direct link, all those things. Fantastic. So let us know how we can help, and we're just going to keep on learning and sharing together. Go ahead, Laura.
Shelley, is that